This nigga chaos, man.
Might have drank a lot of water. What was the update? Did you guys know? I know there was an update for the game. I didn't look at the change logs.
Say it again.
Does anybody know like the update for the game? Like what the update was?
Not for real.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a small update. Maybe it was just a minor patch, but kind of curious.
Oh, like what they patched?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't know about all that shit. Yo, they gotta put out a fucking package where you got the fucking camouflage. You can put that shit on any gun you wanted to. It had to just be for that gun.
This nigga chaos.
Oh man.
Hey, yo, Tip. Yo,
Yo, when
Tip.
you come on? Yeah, what's good, bro?
Yo, bro, you seen the new color they got on here? New camo at the this domestic shit.
Domestic.
You gotta go to where the gold at.
What is it called?
Called Obsidian. Obsidian.
My bad, y'all. My bad. I'm here. My bad,
Oh,
y'all. I apologize.
Obsidian.
no, I don't see it. What is it
Go to-
in?
You
Just
got
for
gun
you?
gold? No,
Everybody
Do
you
I gotta
got
go?
gun gold.
Oh, yeah,
All right,
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Good.
Damn, my nigga, you took a massive shit.
No, I went to go take
Obsidian?
a piss, and what had
Oh,
happened was, you know how when you taking a piss and all of a sudden you got the turtle peeking out. You know, I had to sit down on the toilet.
Tip.
hey,
You see
how
what I'm
you
talking
get
about,
that?
bro? No,
Yeah,
listen,
how
right?
you
I'm
get
about to
that?
ask you this question, right?
Alright.
So it say kill 15 enemies in 150 times, and like
Mhm.
15. You got killed 15 enemies in 150 different matches, right? But I'm
Mhm.
saying, can you skip the platinum and the other color and just do that, or you gotta do that shit all
I
in
think
order?
so.
Yeah, you just have to have gold. Gun
Yeah, I
has to
think
be
you can
gold.
skip that.
For what?
For
Obsidian
Obsidian.
camo.
Oh,
Challenge
You just have
progress only game while playing multiplayer. Yeah, so it's pretty. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
150 games, that's doing a lot,
yeah,
bro.
it's a lot of games.
There's games a day.
Right, here we go, guys. It's showtime.
Ain't it like,
Let's get the show on the
ain't it like
road.
I can get
that
15
it
kills
sounds
a
like a
league?
lot, but it's not.
Hey,
Right?
you shoot the shit. You get that
You
shit
gotta get
practice
the
out.
15 kills in a row. No.
All right, let's try to get this one, boys. Let's try to get it. it easy, guys.
Secure the EMP and destroy the enemy data center. Do whatever it takes.
Cornbread, I'm right behind you. Just split apart.
Oh, lag. Oh, gosh. What's going on?
Yo, I forgot, bro, and I'm always.
y'all lagging too?
Yeah, bro. Big time.
Back left,
Yo, is your shit lagging, bro?
back left, go in the water.
Somebody's lag switching. Hold on. I'm looking at the host right now. All right, we should be good now. No. Whoa. I'm back at the spawn. What the?
Oh,
Dude.
teleporting, bro.
You can
That is
do
the way. On to the next
anything
round.
when you sexy. Hey, good job. I just. Yeah, you probably should have done that.
Yeah. The lag switch is still loose. What's up, Jim? Yo. What is going on? Big nerd, how's it going? Thanks for rocking that sub badge, guys. You guys are awesome. Oh, we're gonna try to do this again, dog.
Fuck that.
Oh, I shot. Hey, back at green, the window. He's going in. Up top. Oh. Hey, Chaos, someone just tried to kill you. Hey, there's two of them over that way. Cornbread. Down below, in the building. Go left. Cornbread.
Who just went under pool?
Good shit, Cornbread. Hey, on Cornbread.
Where's that at?
Hot dog stand. It's
How
on
many
me.
alive?
One.
Oh, just
4v1. 4v1. Hey, revive me, Cornbread. He's a revive, dog.
Where at, bro?
Oh. Hey,
Eat my cornhole in middle lane. I repeat, eat my cornhole middle lane. He's gonna be to the right side where the cars are.
Just stick it, please.
Destroy the enemy data center.
Nah, I don't know what that was. That was
Oh, fuck. He has, man. Go in a hotel.
I shot. I don't know why he ain't let me get him or anything. Going into the spawn. Our spawn. Hey, that shotgun will bail you out, bro. I promise.
coming up.
Tell you.
Ooh.
1 minute remaining.
Behind you.
Honestly, I haven't tried it. Big nerd.
1v2.
Oh man.
Finish.
Yeah, I haven't really tried. We haven't had a request though.
Hey, last one's in our spawn. Last time I seen him. He was heading towards our spawn.
But definitely, next time we get we get those sub requests, guys. I got you guys. Hey, if that Apex is what you want, Apex is what we'll play.
That bomb.
I'm literally probably gonna do like a 2-hour stream. Nothing too crazy. Something simple. Oh. Oh, nice.
Good
Maintain
shit,
pressure. Next round, we crush them.
shit.
You know. Oh, my camera's even off. What?
Switching sides.
Nobody plays Apex anymore, right? Not a lot of people on our channel anyways. I mean, we don't really have like an Apex community focused channel. At one point we had some Apex. Even my brother would get on some Apex, you know? Like I said, guys, I haven't really been on there in a while. Not to say that we're never gonna play it, you know what I'm saying? If we get a request for it, I got you guys. I don't care. You know, sometimes the subs, they control my stream.
One in the back sniping.
Cornbread, watch out, bro.
could do anything when you feel sexy. I just killed 3 out by hazmat.
We have the advantage.
You can
Keep
do
pushing.
it.
I hope it's soon, maybe next chain. Right. Hey, big nerd, you already know, bro. You already know. I haven't been, like I said, I'm rusty on Apex. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm gonna have to get some, but I play first-person shooter. Oh.
Please do not flashbang me again.
Oh man. Oh man. So I put the stream rated M guys, so when people come in, there's gonna be profanity tonight. I do apologize in advance, but I did change the channel rating just to keep it fair. Yeah, just to let you guys know, I set it to rated mature, so you're all good. You can say whatever you want, just not racism and stuff. That's still against the law.
Push left. 2 push left.
Copy that.
Far right. He's going by waterway. Someone got to stop him.
Somebody over here.
Someone has to stop them.
Behind hot dog stand. Cornbread, he's probably to the right of it.
Hotel,
5v3.
hotel.
That's my body. Uh, 4v3. Lindley, where you died at, bro?
Yeah, spawn? What kind of aim was that? I know, right? You saw that pistol aim though, guys? That pistol aim, dude.
They're in our spawn.
Copy that.
Yep, top of it.
Oh, wait, my claymore went off. Yeah, they're behind us. There's gonna be one to the TAMP building, the TAVP building. Yep, one upstairs. Careful.
Device secured.
I'm gonna plant this shit. Fuck them niggas.
Planet.
There's some upstairs in that room.
Arm the EMP. Defend it.
I ain't seen nobody.
There he is.
Nice.
That is the way. On to the next round.
Hey, he said he.
Yeah, Jim, that was a controller for sure. You already know, bro. That was a controller. That was a controller.
You was getting assassinated.
Oh my god.
Forward.
Yeah, big nerd. Who's your favorite character, though, guys? What's your guys' favorite character on Apex? No, how's this? Is the stream lagging or is it running pretty good? I changed some of my settings around. I had to lower my FPS in game.
Yeah, do you want it?
So
do you want it?
Oh gosh.
Put it there.
Not for you. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, nigga, I don't know how it's
Over here. Over here.
Care package inbound.
Oh, don't put it too. Oh, it might not come now. I might hit that now.
Then that gives me a goal to reach for it. Go ahead. That's you, bro.
Watch it be
Don't
a
get
counter
it.
UAV or something. Counter UAV. Yeah, I didn't get nobody.
Allied counter UAV.
Be in the greenhouse because ain't nobody get past me.
Chaos. Go back. Chaos, go back. Chaos, go back.
Nobody
Go back
get
where we
past
were.
me.
Go back where we were.
Friendly care package inbound.
Chaos. Right here. Got that one. I don't kill the last 2 yet. Let Chaos get the care
Get 2 care packages.
Hit that nigga.
I just killed
down,
some more
man.
people.
A personal radar.
Said, hey, you want your cornbread?
Oh, he's up top in hazmat. He's up there coming down the staircase. Last one. 5v1, y'all. Hazmat. He's trying to get 2 revives. Oh, Chaos, right below you. Turn around.
I know.
Oh,
God.
Chaos.
Down,
Oh,
man.
no.
That was horrible.
Down in the...
Home
Now I
bloody
see
and
why you
empty
have 2
handed.
kills.
Steps are loud, right?
Trying to be elite.
Oh, Gibby's your main. Sweet. Gibby sounds good. Heck yeah, man.
You know who Owen is? Hey, I'll fuck with y'all. Y'all chill people. Good game, y'all.
Yeah, y'all cool as fuck.
Alright guys, we're trying to get this level up. Sounds like an elephant running right. It feels like I'm stomping the yard like I'm dancing like that one movie.
I think I just scared the shit out of Chaos. Like my back aching with that nigga. God damn.
Oh, God.
He said upgrade.
Come on now, it's 2020.
He said I know it's dude.
Like, are you still rocking the same internet you had back in MySpace where you couldn't even load up the pictures and you get to the page? Come on, man.
Hey, same people, y'all. Ready back.
Oh shit, let's go.
Nah, I don't think that's the same people. Oh, that.
Yeah.
There it is.
You got the clog shoes on, right? That's
Man, that's about
crazy.
to be a shitty ass game.
You can do anything you want when you being sexy. Bro, I got that TikTok in my fucking head. I don't know why.
Alright guys, gotta get our head right back into the game here. It's all about the game and how you play. Yeah, I gotta get some music on.
They lost that one.
I want some music because I don't care like copyright rights. I'm not really caring about archiving it. Ooh, am I lagging?
You need a challenge, man.
One person.
Get the
How the
EMP.
fuck
Shut
y'all
down the
surrounded
enemy
by
data
Like,
center.
yeah.
Okay, someone got dialed up, right? Well, I'm saying, dude, I'm trying to level up this P90 though. Trying to get this P90 in action, guys. Oh, let's get ourselves situated.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, we got this.
Device secure.
Wow, that was quick. Alright, we gotta be careful on this one, team. Lock it down. This game is super loud.
Up top, up top.
Got you.
Back out with.
Alright, one left, one left.
Falcon building, sound like. Oh, they spawn building. Or two.
EMP activated.
I'm with it.
That game over.
Oh, damn, I'm with this. Whoever this is.
He went for a revive. Two left.
I in the cave. Let me see, cause I killed somebody at the end of this cave over here.
Buy yellow, buy yellow, buy yellow. Give me that.
Use that round.
Hey,
Take another.
Smokey!
Woo!
Smokey!
I am so close to 100. Oh, your level? Like, level 100. Yo, big nerd. That's crazy, bro. Holding it down, though, man. Hold it. Oh, I didn't get the lights on.
Keep it
I just wanna
humble,
let him
bro.
know.
Keep it humble.
That should be good enough, right?
Don't run with the knife.
Good.
Get
That's
to
not
the
toxic.
EMP.
I
Yeah.
said learn how
I think
not
today we're gonna go with a little bit of marshmallow here. But yo, by the way, Jim, that game yesterday, dude, was sweet, bro. I was enjoying it. It's
Hey, buddy, I'm
different.
sorry, I gotta kill you, sister.
Yeah, me talking about it, man. At first, I was skeptical. I'm like, we'll play it to play it.
Okay.
It's not bad, man.
Watch your head, bro.
Behind
It's,
the box.
it's all right.
And the other one well. Oh, he's right there behind you. Corn, he just went in that fucking.
Dylan, you got hit. You killed the nigga, right? Yeah, you might kill the nigga.
No, don't worry about me. I got killed by a Betty. Yeah, Betty Crocker knows how to kill
It
tricks.
shouldn't be that far.
Get moving.
Oh,
Oh, good shot.
nice.
Yellow house. You got yellow house, man.
Yo, they be
Last
anxious
two
be
words.
funny as shit.
Huh?
I guard these guys.
Somebody grab Bauman this plan. Oh,
Why when we just win it?
I smell blood.
Oh, you're 86 right now. Are they doing like double XP or anything like that?
Damn, 2 for 1. My nigga,
Switching sides.
cornbread.
Yeah, man, Jim, I'm doing it, bro. Jim, I need help, bro. I need a motherboard. guys, what motherboard should I get?
Hey,
Like,
cornbread.
I feel like the one I'm gonna get is like too expensive. Like, I like the way that it keeps cooler when I.
Get to the EMP.
If you want to know which one I'm getting, guys, it should be here, I believe. You can check it on there. It should pop up. But the one I wanted was like $200 less, and of course, it's out of
I'm watching
stock.
Yellow House.
I'm on the right side of the cave.
Got the cave, brother.
Claymore down here.
Don't look like no one's coming through Yellow House. I'm checking the broken side.
Who's that, Mike?
They on my side.
Yellow House
Friendly
is still
UAV
good.
online.
Everything's still
Back at
good.
their spawn.
Oh yeah, they're camping their spawn. Oh,
Damn.
two left.
Ah, shit. Back at their spawn.
It's really fun. I like it. It was very unique. I agree. I totally agree with that one. I really do. What about you, Big Nerd? You should. You're into Battle Royale because you play Apex. You should definitely check out the Cycle.
No, he
Take it,
right
take it.
around. He right here.
Go back in the fight. Move.
Oh.
Have the
And that
advantage.
nigga
Now
Smokey
keep it.
scared the shit out of me. I didn't even see you, bro. Bro, you come creep around the corner, bro. I fucking hit you with the sniper.
Loving them pistol kills though. Look at that. He's like, I don't need no automatic.
Okay. Pull
That
some
nigga
pressure.
Body's been going in.
crazy.
Device marked. Get moving.
Hey, it's coming in like that.
The pistol.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, man, he did good too.
Yeah, he's nice with that.
Oh shit.
He's my boy Lindland, bro. Yeah, talk.
Friendly care package on the way.
Oh, to the right.
Come on, hit Marcus. He in between Blue House and
Device secure.
Yeah, I see them niggas right there, bro. This
Watch the
nigga
sandbags.
to the game fucking my screen up, bro.
I know Joker and
So for $200 more, you get Wi-Fi. Is that really worth the? Right. See, that's what I'm saying. So you get Wi-Fi, you get Bluetooth. None of that really concerns me.
Ain't nowhere no more. I'm out. Fuck you talking about.
Here's what I want. I was looking at the metal right in the back, the steel plate, and then like the way like the plates are on there. It's really cooling efficient for if you're overclocking, which I'm definitely going to do with that AMD because I'm gonna overclock every single core.
back entrance.
I'm going all in.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
should let me get on top of it.
Yeah, rush shot. You got one reviving.
I don't see nobody.
I got you.
Oh shit, he in the yellow house, y'all. Oh, I thought it was he in a wreck shop.
There should be two in there.
Somebody picked me up in the back of the kid.
Oh, I
The
got
dog
him.
in the yellow house.
Oh.
Dead.
Oh, yo, in that
Let's
spot,
not
in that
move.
spot, on the chicken coop. He's going up where I like
EMP
to
is
snipe at,
ours.
yo.
Attack the
Top
enemy
left
data
building, in
center.
that spot. I'm on.
Second building.
I already killed the nigga.
Yeah, should have had Lindland. Yeah, in that building.
Downstairs, upstairs.
I was scared.
EMP
He's
activated.
running towards me.
Defend
So
it.
I can't really. Oh,
Damn.
no, he's running over.
Oh,
Run
he
well,
caught me
run
by
well.
surprise. He right next there. To your right, Leland. To your right, running cave side. He runs towards the cave, running towards the wreck shop.
Over here.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Damn.
And then
Never
nigga
On
on
the
my
left,
ass.
man.
I don't know how he knew you was over there.
Watch yellow house at you. Yeah, there
Hey,
you go.
Cave.
Coming the back way.
We took that round.
There we go, guys.
Take another.
He tried. That was nice.
You gotta get your new processor. Nice.
Hey, you know, there's
Switching
like
sides.
an aiming button, Chase.
I'm too lazy, bro. It breaks my finger when I click it.
I see.
Feels like I'm doing the splits. Like, you know, I gotta stretch more.
Device marked. Get
I see why you don't do it.
Plus, I think it makes them more mad when you're not aiming.
Are you streaming, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, you said there's no resource stuff.
Yeah, I got it set to ready to mature, so you guys are good. Oh, shot middle. Oh, one's in the middle. He's at the bottom. Load of barricades.
Oh, yo, he's camping by fucking spiral on the side of it. On the outskirts, it's spiral. So
It's like the streamer's actually running pretty good, guys, so that's really good.
shit.
That was the one
Our
like
enemy
that,
has
bro.
been
When I was
EMP.
level.
I don't know. All I know is I just got killed.
Ooh, top of chicken house.
I'm on the outside. Hey, below, body.
Bro, I'm getting stuck.
Oh
Where's the
shit,
bomb at?
spawn house. They're at the bomb house. Watch you sniping.
And maybe I can do some more hardcore gaming. Wait, which one did you get?
Above you.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was looking at the, because that one's the extreme, right? There was a ultra or a master, and then there was something else.
Watch out, Lily, you see him?
I don't mind 3, maybe 4, but I don't want to surpass that.
Above you, bodies.
But because I'm going 3950X, I don't want to underdo it.
Broken building. One nigga hit him in the head.
Maximum sense. Oh, the 3600 is really good. 36 and 39 are really good.
Right here.
Did you go with the X or just the regular? You definitely want to go with the X though.
Yeah, bridge part like going across to our.
Or no, we looked at all those. I don't think there was much of a difference, right?
I hear.
I don't think you had much of a difference with that.
How many left?
So you had 3600 versus 3600X. Yeah, I don't think for that you're not gonna see a difference. It's only 200 megahertz faster. That's it. It's 6% difference, and wattage is maybe like 30 decibels different. That's it. But yeah, you're worth it.
Oh, he was
I didn't
there
know he
too.
was in there. I knew he was in there.
Oh!
I knew he was
Tough
in there.
brave
I
this
knew
one.
he was in there.
Get ready to go back out.
Yeah, I have one right there.
Everybody goes in there.
Oh, you're almost close to the 200,000 damage. Nice. Oh, Jim, you going in? Oh, but Jim, what's the price difference though, dude? 3.8, 3.6, 6 core, 12. I mean, really, it's the same thing. I mean, just, dude, you're going Zen 2 though. You're gonna love this processor, dude.
You got 2 reasons.
Device marked.
I would, yeah, dude. There's not much of a difference. And you've done your homework, so you're good. You know what you're getting. Yeah, you know what you're getting, dude. I'm happy for you, bro. Get out of that first gen, like that 100-some-thousand series. Getting that, you're jumping into the 3000s, bro. You're gonna love it. 6 core, 12 threads.
Yeah.
I'm out
Back
here.
up,
Hey, 2K, 2K. Watch it straight ahead.
Hey,
Watch it straight ahead.
P90 Drinks. He's down straight ahead. Oh, look at he's spinning so much I can't.
Street.
I see him on a bomb. Let me see where he's at now. Oh, chicken coop. Chicken coop. One's coming right here,
Oh,
right?
yo, straight down.
Yellow,
man.
yellow.
Who
Oh, to the left lane, left lane.
Give me a Nevada.
Oh gosh.
One over here.
One has the X and one the other one doesn't. Right. Majority of the time,
Yeah.
most people tend to go with the X just because of that little slightly extra. But I was looking at the price. Is it really just like a $20 difference? I would just say go for it
Another one coming straight
Yeah, that
across.
for 20 bucks more. But
Somebody let me know.
I don't. It's not gonna hurt not getting it. I think you're good, bro. You're good. Can you overclock the 3600 though? I don't know how AMD works because I know Intel. You have to get the K version, right? Because if you don't get the K version,
Our enemy has the EMP.
there is no overclock capabilities. Like you're not able to overclock it.
Reviving in front of
I don't think AMD does that. I think it does. Oh, the whole squad. Ooh. Oh, it's $50 difference. Yeah, just go with the 36. Oh, if it's overclockable, don't worry about it, dude.
Like some roaches when you turn the lights on.
Yeah, don't worry about it, bro.
And my body's straight ahead. Tricks is above you.
Less than a minute.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out who I'm trying to pick up, bro.
Just pick up
tricks.
tricks. He's right there.
I got you. Get the fuck up there.
These revs,
Shit,
he just-
All AMD processors are, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Intel be trying to get you to where you gotta have a K version. All right, buddy, let's do this, bro. Come on, man.
Let's get it, tricks. I'm about to
I'm
go
in the
this way,
back
you
of
go that
yellow.
way, bro. We about to kill these
You're
niggas.
back in the fight. Move. 30 seconds. Time's up. Get moving.
Where's the
Good shit.
That's what I revive, bro. Come back. See? I got you.
Good work. They don't know what.
Woo!
That's what I'm talking about, tricks.
I aim just for you two, crazy. See?
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I only have 4, bro. I only have 4. Don't worry.
You gotta pay buttloads of money for the K version, right? And then now they're trying to do KS and some other. So check this out, dude. I did a comparison, right, for AMD's version when I'm trying to get. I don't know, man. I was gonna go 3900X. So much cheaper. It's like way cheaper.
Worst one of all.
And okay, so here's what I'm scared though. Here's what I'm scared about.
One time.
DDR5. The new NVIDIA cards, the 30 or 3000 series is coming out,
This night.
and they're talking Zen 3 AMD processors are later this year. You know, I would hate to get all this and then all of a sudden new tech is here. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, no matter what, that's always going to be a thing anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to future-proof myself. I'm going to make sure I'm good for the next 5 years at least, you know?
Hey, Lenny did carry us about 3 times.
Yeah, the 3000 series card sounds pretty nice. They do, man. It's supposed to destroy the RTX version. So I got the warranty though, so I'm gonna just exchange it. Oh yeah, your guys' favorite map. All right, let's go. I'm thinking about down. New tech is always coming out. Yeah, it's just like cell phones, bro. You buy the latest phone, get all hype, you're all excited, and all of a sudden, new phone.
These niggas shit. Oh, they all left.
Oh, yeah, I played. Hey, where's the fuck you?
I got him playing.
I tried to hit you before, bro.
Literally, I'm sorry, bro. Hey, literally, you were just standing.
Do it, bro. That's what I would do, bro. Get the warranty. I know it sucks because it's like, I think it's like $100 some for it because it's a, you know, but it's worth it, bro. It's worth it. Oh, you guys made him rage quit. Oh no.
It's funny. I didn't even know you ran all the way
Hey,
to play.
you know what's funny? I stayed in the spawn after I spawned after somebody killed me, and I fucking just laid down and tried to spray the whole team. Oh,
Yeah.
back out,
I
back
never
out.
put an AMD processor together though, Jim. I'm scared, bro.
Last time in her first, bro.
I hate
Oh no,
those.
cornbread is.
Yeah, come on.
You're getting a 2060 too? Okay. Yeah, get out of that AMD card, bro. I saw you. I see you having issues with it. I mean, it's an improvement from what you have,
With tricks. Oh,
but
tricks.
yeah, I'm still here, bro.
Oh,
I'll
cornbread
back
left.
up so y'all can play him.
Cornbread left.
You did? No, we're all here.
No, it's 6. Yeah, it's 6. Yeah.
I say we
I'll
only got
back out.
4.
I'll back out so y'all can invite him, and I'll go get some.
No, you
Nah,
can't,
nigga.
bro. I wasn't about to invite nobody.
We thought we had.
It's
5.
easy. Yeah.
It's on 5.
I mean,
On my screen.
it's just another thing just to put on a socket, right? What can go wrong? But I got to do the whole motherboard too. Sucks, bro.
Where's this playing, yo?
Yeah, and I think with having that many cores, I'm not going to need a dual PC setup. I've heard some really good things about the AMDs in terms of because of all that extra additional cores. OBS should be running phenomenal. I won't even have to stream on NVIDIA anymore. I can literally stream on my processor and be good to go, and still have enough.
This is when we go 5-0 their way.
Right, they sound good, but it's what they were actually going to do, though. You know what I'm saying?
Secure the EMP and disable the enemy data center.
Hey, someone come and grab me outside the green building. I'm the
Man, body tried to kill me, though. You okay, bro?
Hey, yo, warehouse. Hey, we're playing against Mexicans?
Hey, Bobby, come here, Bobby.
He just jumped up on top of the white crate.
Back in green, back in green. Sorry.
Oh, warehouse.
No, behind you, Latenight.
That's what's a warehouse.
Latenight, behind you. Oh. Alright, fuck it,
Reset
Latenight,
the
you do you,
tempo.
bro.
Keep it up next
Hit marker, though, man. Yeah, the new AMD cards do sound pretty good. I did some reviews, and they actually do. Okay. I mean, I'm sure they're good, you know, in terms of, like, performance, they're there, but...
I got blown up by the cop car.
Nah, you good, bro. It happens, bro. Just a little slap on the cheek. It's all good, man.
Good kill.
Yo, this nigga slim went through me, bro.
Hey, give me in the back end.
Yeah, man. Holy kinky, what's up? What is up? Nope, here he go. Oh! Ooh! Nice one, cornbread.
Ain't nobody back there. It's just all grenades and shit.
Yo, middle crates.
Oh! You got one on the right. Oh, I think is he on top?
Yeah, I think he's up there.
Oh!
Oh, behind.
Oh, yep. It's about to get kinky, right? Kinky, what's up? How are ya? Rix is a pro COD player? No, not really, man. I used to be, guys. Way back in the day.
PV2, our way.
Alright, let me get you with okay.
Device secure.
Oh, somebody.
Alright, guys, I'll be right back. I won't be too far away, though, but hold on. Give me a...
I think they
Go
in the
plan.
bottom green.
Oh, how is everybody?
Disregard the EMP. Defend it.
Bottom green. Coming out the window.
I can't fucking see. I can't go down. Damn. Bottom of green.
Cornbread to your right. I think they got back to your right, cornbread. To your right,
Ew.
cornbread. He back there with you. No, in front of the fence. In front of the fence. In front of that blue fence in front of you. Be back there.
Hey, he's in
Our
bomb.
EMP
He's
was
on bomb.
defused. Stay at the ready. We have the EMP. Attack the enemy data center.
Damn, man, I can't fucking move.
EMP activated.
Oh, they're
Defend
both
it.
right there.
1v2.
Damn. I thought there was only one left.
Hey, I'm in warehouse if you're trying to grab me. I'm in warehouse in
in
the window.
That was down center.
1v2, 1v2.
Ooh, wee. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, remember how yesterday I had the black border issue? You know it. Okay.
It's too risky.
Shit.
Oh, you're playing zombies. Nice. Like Call of Duty zombies? Oof. Okay. Trying to get myself...
Less than a minute.
Yeah, I'm
Oh yeah. I know you saw him.
Getting his hands up. Where?
Yeah, I think one's inside the warehouse. Careful. Yep.
Up here, trying to
He's inside. Oh, one's coming up the stairs. Behind you, out that window.
Time's up. Move.
You didn't get the revive?
Reload. Good club. No.
Oh. Oh, Black Ops 2. Nice, nice, nice. I need to reposition this this web. I mean, not. Oh my god, this camera, this webcam. What am I talking about? I need to reposition this microphone, guys. I need to get it back by me again. I don't know how I'm gonna do it though. I need to change everything.
Target their data
And then
center.
wouldn't let me shoot. Yo, ain't green.
Who's there?
No, he's dead. That was only one body. I killed the other one.
Where?
Back of their spawn. Left side. Good shot.
They saved my ass, buddy.
Team 2, right under you, Tricks. Right under you. Right under you.
Device
Oh,
secured.
yep. He's at the. Oh,
In this house.
he jumped to the rooftop.
We've got him on the ropes. Don't let your guard down.
Black Ops 2 and forever, dude. You know what though? Those were the good days though. Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. Man, those were the glorious moments of COD, man. You know what, guys? I'm never gonna forget it. Even Ghost, I'm not gonna lie, I was still lightway into it. As much as everybody hated on it, I liked it. I mean, but it did get kind of, you know, wearing out, I guess. But it was all right. You know, everybody.
Yo, green. How is this nigga hitting me every time?
Yeah. Too crazy. Let's not talk about that grenade, okay?
You're good to go. Get back in there.
Upstairs, downstairs. He reviving in the back. Two, 3 niggas.
Oh, on top. Oh. They got one left, guys. They killed it with Black Ops 3 and 4. 3 was okay. I didn't like the skeletons. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like it.
Next round.
I wasn't really feeling the exosuits. But yeah, I didn't buy 4. I skipped on it. 3. I mean, I got it because it was COD. You know, I'm gonna lower my frames a bit more, guys. Maybe, I don't know. Are we lagging? Is the stream lagging, or is it running pretty smooth?
Somebody in the same spot.
Yeah. Ah, man, they keep getting killed. They like it.
Secure the
Somebody use the care package, man.
Bam, 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 bam. Da, da, da.
friendly care package inbound.
Ah, fuck, it's gonna end up here now. Oh, fuck.
Wow, he's going to the warehouse up the ramp.
Bread.
Watch your corner. Upstairs.
Man,
Where?
Down there. Downstairs, cornbread outside. We just revived me.
Where's he at, yo?
I got
I
it.
think Body got it. Man, how the fuck
I
I
see
can
him.
get
I really play online, not on Xbox at least. Loads of modders. Yeah, once the game gets like depreciated, the hackers start rolling in. Black Ops 3 was good. Like you could get by and just items, and you can get in game. They've added right.
Watch top, watch top.
Zombies are fun.
Oh, get hit marker, bro. He on the roof.
Regroup and stay focused.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see no name.
Chaos blew the shit out of me.
Yeah. I'm gonna find a thing for it. Maybe I don't know. Put it this way again and like block this monitor. I mean, because really I'm gaming on this, but I want the microphone in front of me though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like that well, I'm not yelling. You guys can hear me good, but it's like, I don't know, man.
Back of their spawn left side. I just threw an airstrike.
We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep it.
Yeah, very true though, guys. Very true though. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a little something here.
I like that pistol.
Bam, 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 bam.
I got a VTOL I'm about to use.
Secure the EMP. Target their data center.
See if I get the same person. Go with this chick.
Oh! What's up, top KS? Top of the warehouse, careful.
Yeah, my gun, yeah.
Downstairs, come on. There's two in warehouse.
We lost the device. Hold the data center.
Let me see how it looks. I'm kind of curious to see how the stream looks. Oh man, that game looked dark. You guys didn't tell me it looked dark. Ooh.
Yeah, boy. Good shit.
Yeah.
All in a good day's work.
20 kills, man.
Let me see if it looks a little better for you guys. Oh, it don't look dark for you? Really? It looked dark. I'm like looking at my phone. It looks like super dark.
I'm white.
It looks fine? Really? Am I losing my marbles here?
I died twice. Let's get it, boys.
Does this look good then?
I just want to say, man, my back is hurting, bro. Shit, man. Man, my back is aching, bro.
Sorry, that crazy getting more kills than me.
Hey, my nephew quiet as fuck right now. He probably went to go take his piss with his old lady bladder.
Alright, that should be better, I think, for you guys, right? Hopefully, yeah.
Tip, what's going on, bro?
On that
Ain't saying
Kandahar
nothing.
map, I dropped 30 and 5. I have it clipped and everything.
I turn my brightness on my phone. Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, that's exactly what it is.
Still lost though. My team.
Yeah, it looked good now.
Yeah, we
I always keep my brightness down to save my battery. Dang, Jim, you know me too well, bro. Alright, so we gotta talk about getting, like for moderators. I'm gonna get like a list for you guys, something to make it easy for you guys to manage.
Hey, Tip, man, you a little quiet.
I'm gonna work on something. I'm gonna do it on my off time. I got you guys. I already made a note for it. Man, the game looks realistic on the stream. Jeez. But it's moving nice, though. All right, boys. Keep your head up and your ass down. Let's go. Hey, if you're going to beat it, tenderize it.
Fuck you.
I'm glad, dude.
Oh!
I'm glad.
To the right, to the right. Yeah, it's moving good. It's moving good, guys. Do we need that, though, since we have mod view now? True. Not really, but just for the commands with, like, trick spot. You know what I'm saying? like trick spot stuff.
4v2, y'all.
But like I said,
I got him up there, buddy.
Somebody's up top.
Jim, most likely though, you could just click the one that trick spot's giving you,
Kill that guy.
Device
and that's some of them. But like I said,
Above me, man.
I got you though.
You're back online.
Oh, he in the back. He in the back.
Oh, all the way in the back again. Come on, nigga, get out of the spot. Whoever's on that fight, get down.
Back there, cornbread.
We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep it.
What y'all doing over there? Sucking each other?
Yeah, but I'm going to I'm gonna make it to where like the game's moving good. Looks good too.
That's crazy.
It's 1 in the morning.
Bum ass nigga.
Hey, Tip didn't even do that call out. He wanted me to die.
Nigga, I said above
Hey,
and below you.
Cornbread.
I literally
Cornbread,
said,
look at
whoever's
me.
on that fucking
Secure the
box.
device.
Oh, I'm at the wrong way, guys. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba, da. Ba, da.
No, I know.
There's one coming to our spawn.
Oh, they're already at a spawn. He's by the refrigerators.
Our enemies have the EMP.
Left side, buddy.
Get behind you. Ooh.
Regroup and stay focused. The next round is ours.
177. Yeah, but not all of them you're going to use. Yeah, that's some of them though. Yeah. See, I ain't doing it once. See?
Switching sides.
I bet you are.
Having controller malfunctions over here. Bro, I'm about to get a keyboard like you, bro.
Secure the device.
I use my phone keyboard though. I don't need a real keyboard. Too cheap. I get whatever's on clearance. Oh, two come down. Oh, 3. That count is way off. Yeah, it is way off. That
Straight down the pipe and center. Like,
I'm gonna look at that list with you.
straight middle.
So for the moderators, you should see some of the ones that show like mod only,
I just killed him.
and then all viewers, all that good stuff.
Device secure.
So technically, there's 386 altogether.
That's it.
So you see 177.
Get back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm behind the box back there. Lily.
Yeah,
No.
Set the tempo. Keep it up next round.
He goes the Walmart clearance aisle. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, bro.
Hey, look.
Where we are.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. This pillow is not that comfortable.
I'm black. I'm not even black.
I am, nigga.
Oh. Ah.
I'm white.
Okay, let's try this again, guys.
Matter of fact, watch this.
Promise me.
Watch my salute. Watch my salute.
Blackie?
There we go. Now it's playing good.
I'm gonna finish a nigga doing this.
We're gonna try to win this one, boys.
I tried it. It's
I'm
hard.
doing bad. I'm doing terrible, guys.
Buddy, I'm sorry.
I got it.
Ah, damn, whoever just shot that nigga almost killed me.
This nigga
I almost did. Shoot.
Hey, buddy, I ain't mean to get you,
look on my
bro.
line.
Ah, left side.
Almost just shot you.
Left side.
I'm about to shoot.
Yo, Mark, he's right there hiding, bro.
Oh, shit.
Where, bro?
Wait.
Coming around.
Oh! The heck was I looking at? Oh, he's behind us by our spawn.
Oh, what the fuck?
Middle.
I heard this
In the
chick, he
middle, right in
nigga
the middle.
shooting.
No broken? Jim, maybe you can rewrite it, bro. You can do edit command, edit CMD, and then try to retype that. I don't know why it does it, man. Maybe we had to remove the hearts.
Yeah, how does it feel to get lynched? How does it feel to get lynched?
Switching sides.
Yeah, why don't you can ask yourself. You can ask yourself.
Right, bitch. My granddaddy fucked your grandma. That's how you hear, dumbass nigga.
Secure the device.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think they gonna fuck you up, man.
It'd be one of those instigators like, oh,
Left side, left side.
Nope.
There's one right here, bomb. Got him, never mind.
Hey, in it.
Device secure.
Behind that fucking big ass thing. Oh, there's another one.
Behind us. Behind us.
Oh, yeah, he's on left side still.
Where you at, Ted?
I'm above.
One left.
Where you
Right
at?
to your right.
Get ahead of me, buddy.
He's by registers. Whoever's scoring.
Yeah, he's by red. I see the footsteps.
Right there. You just see my radar.
Oh! He's by the forklift, registers.
Hey, plant bomb. He'll cover you.
Yeah. Force him out.
I gotta go to the other
I'm
side.
on the other side.
Right.
I was running
Let me try this though, guys. Hold on.
How many left?
One. 4v1. Watch them bodies.
Oh, shit.
You're
He
back
up here.
online.
It works that way.
Cut through that little bottom part. Look left.
We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep it.
Hey, this black guy got you.
Yeah, try that. And then you're gonna edit command, type the command, and then the text that goes with it. So I copied and pasted without the heart. So it looks like some of the emojis are conflicting or interfering with some of the emotes.
Cornbread.
These motherfuckers stay talking
Cornbread.
about
Now
monkey
black,
swine.
yo.
Sir.
Secure the device.
Monkey swine hair.
And I'm doing terrible, guys. You know what though? It's when I'm not streaming, I tell you guys, I do really good, man. I'm just.
Black people, colored people. White people.
Nigga.
Oh! Registers coming over.
I thought that was my teammate. He went back to gas station.
It's not working? Why is it not working?
Yeah, it's
Hostile
going.
has the EMP.
Oh, Jay, we're so dumb, bro.
Coming that way. Yup. Watch.
Jay, we have an issue.
Alright.
Trick Spot is not a sub.
Middle section. On that little ramp.
I just thought about it.
Over there.
Wow.
Up top.
Wow, what a fail, man. Can we...
Jump down.
Oh...
Gotta be smart. Like,
Hard flop.
Yeah, so Trick Spot is not a sub. Dude.
hey, crackers. Hey, crackers.
Y'all made the baskets for us.
Crackers. Hey, how's your guys' settlement check, bitches?
Yeah.
Ooh, you're a cracker. Hey,
And I'm a cookie. Oh, we're getting points.
See my brothers, you know my back aching. Chaos.
What
My
score?
back aching.
What score?
That
12.
nigga, I heard you.
Hey, so yeah, Trick Spot's not a sub.
Hey, guess what though?
That
Still
sucks,
back.
bro. So I need to set it to where...
Next time I'm gonna teabag your body and run off.
Yeah, you're gonna need it. Nah, there's me, cause guess what? You don't want me to clutch up. I get it. It's understandable.
Nah, but
I mean, technically, I could subscribe to myself. I get $2.50 back, right? Or $2 actually. After they take 70% of the cut, 60 to 70%. So
Hey, that's
yeah,
one thing I can say. Soon as we could be talking mad shit to each other, but soon as someone else say something dumb to us, it's a wrap. We always try to hurry up.
there is no way, Jay or Jim. There's no way. The only thing is, I don't want to keep paying myself. That just makes no sense.
Oh, no, it's pretty much a whole clan.
I'll have to add that to the list. Yeah, I made a little budget thing so you guys can see where we are in terms of like stream funding, guys. I'm sharing it with you guys. I'm not hiding anything. Like I'm gonna share that with you guys. Let me know what you think. Yeah, no, my my aim is bad. Like I'm not paying attention. I need to focus. Plus, I'm only playing at 125 FPS instead of 165, which I should.
Captures the EMP.
All right, let's go.
Disables the enemy data center.
Wow. Okay.
Behind you, crazy.
I should have came back to that window.
Oh shit.
Oh, you guys already got him.
You're back online.
Oh, he's behind us.
Do not let them breathe.
I'm doing terrible.
Thank you. I know, man.
Ugh.
That right side.
Yeah. Oh, you seen that? Yeah. I had to add trick spot on there. $2.50 a month ain't bad. In a year, what, 20 bucks? Give or take, somewhere around there in that ballpark.
Fuck you getting my way for it? Yeah, I'm trying to fight you.
In your way,
Yo, you just gonna let him kill me? Hey, come revive me. It lives.
I don't want your gun. Fuck.
Yeah,
Maintain
you don't
pressure.
want my gun?
Next
But it
round,
just saves
request
your
them.
ass, huh?
No, I just remember it's a single barrel. That's why I kept clicking, nigga.
Yeah, yeah. See, now you've seen the commands.
I just remember playing with that bitch, so I know it's a single barrel.
Woo.
Switching sides.
If you would have held it down, I'd have fucking died.
I almost did.
I
it,
really
nigga.
Try to get this win, guys. Thank you, Jim. Hey, I'm glad we're going over these commands though.
Nice, but I don't
Move
like
out. Get the device.
Hey, some of them we can remove too. Like if we don't need them.
Tiff, you push me out the way.
Jumping in my way. I literally had it.
There's me. He already got the guy on the wall. He just went to smack him. There's a lot of shells here.
Wow. One's coming down.
Around where?
There was one right there by you, Cornbread, but he.
Oh, jump gun. Oh, you gotta call that
He's
out.
in center.
Center of junk gun. 1v3.
That aim assist though.
He jumped over the
Yeah,
wall
this
by
nigga.
junkyard. He jumped over the wall by
Oh, run.
Run.
Run, white boy, run.
What
Damn.
the fuck was that?
Alright, 1v1,
I don't know
bro.
which way he was going.
Yeah,
Yup, you know where he's at.
you know he's reviving.
Get in. How the fuck that ain't killing you first?
Hey, my nigga going
Maintain
too
pressure.
crazy.
Next round, request them.
Damn,
I couldn't like crazy get
Hey,
more
y'all-
kills than me, man.
Hey, you right.
You guys, but I think maybe we need to eat some cornbread. Maybe we'll play like that. Jeez, I need some of that power. Holy crap!
I ain't gonna lie.
Right
my fool
side,
getting a
I
whole
get left
360.
side of the wall, Ted. Don't push me out.
Retrieve the
If I
device.
go up,
Got left side
I
right
shoot you.
Oh, join date. I forgot about that. It shows the day you joined the channel. Yeah.
Jump over the wall straight ahead.
Stay hungry. There's more where that came from.
pushed y'all fast.
That one takes you to a suspect website saying connection is in private. Which one?
You can.
Oh, T-shirt. We might have to remove that one, Jay. Yeah, we can remove that actually.
So don't kill him too fast.
That's
It's gonna be.
that was the spread T-shirt. We don't have it anymore. That was like a campaign when we had it.
Please, buddy. Tricks.
Retrieve the device.
Oh yeah, we got this. Come on.
We don't got care packages.
They're about to be pissed as fuck.
I'm about to be on the wall right here, bro.
Oh, he got a fucking beetle or something.
Something better than
Friendly
zero.
care package found.
White phosphorus.
They down here, they
Oh,
in our
top
top
of
Oh,
there.
yeah, top
You
of
know,
the
it's
line. Hey, get my care
Thanks to you.
Y'all ain't gonna kill me, nigga.
What's going on there, XL Calv? How are you? Wow, that was a fast kill, right?
That's crazy.
Because I just killed both of you.
Oh, you ain't kill me, nigga. I slid next to the bomb.
Oh, I didn't get you? I thought I did.
Nigga, I dropped by myself.
Oh, they do these so well, man.
Y'all trying to shoot me.
I'm getting some bad rounds in.
I knew that's where you.
All right, so let's look this over. So in terms of commands, t-shirts, yeah, that one's no good, right?
Hey, did you get anything good out of it?
Oh wow. What if we remove all that and do just spreadtshirt.com?
My nigga had a chopper gunner.
Yeah, spread t-shirt is an issue? Hold on, what the heck?
Oh, damn. Yeah, everybody should have just camped and just...
They're still around. Yeah, that was because it was a campaign. All right, so we'll remove that command. Try to do yeah, you can check the status of people. Yeah, it was last seen. Oh, wow.
Roger, Demon 1-2. Hammer is visual on that position. Target is acquired. Stand by for danger close. Good impact. Still hot. Going again. Missiles up. Their armor's down. Hit the infantry.
Thing. So to delete a command, I'm trying to remember.
Shut down the enemy data center.
I think it was DELCMD.
Gotta let somebody else get some
It'd be that, and then you just type whatever the command was. We could remove the t-shirt.
Yo, this nigga had a riot shield on it. Bottom of the cafe. Hey, other side. He's reviving. He's in cafe. He's reviving.
Right there.
Yeah. Right here. Lane. That's his body laying down.
I got him.
Let's get back out
I
there.
got this.
There you go, Jim. There you go. Thank you, bro. See, so now we're learning. So DEL command. Then you got the edit command. And then you got add command too.
Good shit. No, I went under and then I killed one and then I went to shoot another one and I hit his riot shield on his back.
Right. But El Cobb though, man, I hope you're doing all right. Like, what do you need to learn on COD? What's your what's going on?
He was hiding in that one.
Do you play FPS shooters on a daily or not often?
Oh, in the back, my bomb building. I'm in cafe.
I don't know if I was tripping.
Cornbread, you're clear. Oh, I was gonna say you're clear.
Go for that throat.
Everyone watch yourself. Jungle's in the mumbles, right? I am back. I am using my Xbox now. Sweet. Big Nerd's watching on the big screen. Oh, why am my camera cutting off so much?
Lemon's like, I can't let Crazy had too many kills.
Hey, I went up in cafe and
I'm doing terrible, guys. What's wrong with me?
He was like, here, bitch.
Get to the EMP.
Alright. I really need to get myself in the groove here.
Let me get it.
Bum 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 bum. Oh, sniper up top. Third floor.
Yo, sandbag.
Where is sandbag, bro?
We just killed
I
him.
killed
Oh, Big Nerd, check this out, man. We just figured out why Trickspot couldn't type emotes in chat, bro. You would not believe why and how we figured it out.
Cornbread, you over there when you was aiming at it first.
Construction.
Oh,
You mean to drop out that window?
I remember that random fact command. I used to love it.
What the fuck?
Wow.
He downstairs.
Shoot that booty.
The other one's on
I'm on the other side of
mid.
He's downstairs.
They're up under you.
He's coming up.
Oh, really?
You better check behind you.
That's me right there.
You bang him in the air. You better
Yeah, he stopped moving or he's crawling, so be careful. Oh, there he is.
Oh shit.
How come you didn't hear the ladder? He must have went dead silent.
Cause it,
This kid's tip was playing around.
Yeah, he was dead silent. I was about to say.
you can't say it's me. You kept yapping your jaw.
Nah, nigga. You over here looking
Yeah.
at.
Right, Jim. Right.
It's not your head.
What was the brokenness? So Trickspot was not a sub, so Trickspot cannot use sub emotes.
If it was gay,
So we were trying to figure it out. We're like, what is going on? You know? Man, that's some crazy right there, guys. I'm telling you.
Don't let him lie to you.
Yo, watch ourselves here.
Oh shit. Running across bridge right now.
Wow.
Hey, I'm the top eight. Nigga camping.
Wow. I can't aim, guys. What's wrong with me?
Found a little bit. Oh, let me watch out.
No.
I'm on sandbags. Early.
How many left, yo?
Oh, right there.
One.
Hey, what went under
Still got
bridge?
14.
That little
I
green.
wonder where I can put my microphone though, like this.
Yeah.
Body
I
under you.
right.
I might be able to do this. This kind of helps, maybe, right? Make it a little better. I don't know.
Hey,
I mean, that's a little closer to me, so I guess it's a little better. I guess, right? I don't know.
Hey, construction.
We had on bridge.
One left. 4v1, yo. 4v2. He just revived.
In construction.
No, I got him. I got some structure. I don't know where the upper one at.
We up here on top of cafe.
I smell blood.
I really need to get my head in the game, guys. Wow. Yeah, random facts. Random facts.
Hey, I got 2 precision airstrikes. I'm gonna use one.
Device marked.
I'm gonna use one down the center, so watch it. Don't go down the center.
Cover that.
Alright, so go down center, right?
He's on that little cubby room in the fucking bridge.
Friendly precision airstrike on the
I'm
way.
on top of it.
Why you peek up and come down?
5v3, yeah. 5v3.
Oh shit. Our building in mid.
One
Got
left.
him, bro.
4v1. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
got him.
Appreciate you.
Friendly UAV online.
Oh, damn, he all the way in the spawn.
Damn.
Said a UAV went up. He know he was done.
Which one, man?
He was like, oh shit. He was like, oh shit.
That nigga cornbread. just
Right.
shooting.
You never know what's worse luck. Right. I like that. I like these commands, man. We gotta make use of some of these again, guys.
I won't move this way.
All right. How is the microphone better this way? I think it's a little better, right? Yeah, I can't get comfortable. Like, I'm gonna stand up, man. But when I stand up, it like eliminates the. I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, get my right up.
Come get just
Hey,
fought.
on bridge, on bridge.
Friendly precision airstrike.
There we go. There we go. Now we're getting in the groove.
Nobody goes down center. Ain't nobody going down center now.
Oh shit, you just scared the shit out of me, man.
There's only one left.
So where the fuck could this nigga be at?
Device secure.
Spawn.
No, I'm at the spawn now. It's clear.
EMP activated. Defend.
Oh, you right there, cafe. Bottom cafe. Right to the back, cornbread. Watch your back.
He's just laying down.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Let
That's a
you
win.
go first.
Now
You
report
die.
back to
I'll
base.
go.
I know, right, Jim? Oh, wait, you're getting it tomorrow.
I'll take it anytime, bro.
Dude, even I'm struggling, though. Like, not streaming? Bro, perfect.
Laying down still.
Right now, I'm live.
Yeah,
GG,
first.
yo.
I guess the game does good, but OBS tends to have
You
issues.
went 7 and 2. Oh, wait, 9 and 5.
It looks like it's running good, though. Honestly, it looks like it's running perfect. Maybe it was the update. I don't know, but it's only in Warzone I start to see the issues.
Hey, did we ever plant on that board?
Nope.
Yeah, we planted it at the last round.
Oh, body, yeah.
Alright, everything.
Oh, I said it should be here tomorrow. Well, hopefully it does come in. Hopefully it does. Hopefully it really does, guys. That'd be good. That'd be really good. Food sounds great. Yeah, the map is huge. It lags.
Man, wars all day, man. It's another clan.
Yeah, well, it's cyber too. I mean, this is like a strategic mode. Most of the time, clans go in with these kind of modes.
Usually I run solo.
Yeah, like TDM, you'll see randoms, but bump,
I
bump.
sent you a regiment invite, cornbread.
Yeah,
Oh, you sent him some Reggie. All right, it's cool.
We got 107 people on our regiment.
I only got 80.
Right. Jim, you're gonna be. That's gonna be like a big new toy for you, bro. Jim's gonna be like, know it, you know it, know it, know it. All right, so I changed a few things on Discord. I put the new logo on our Discord server. Let me know what you think, Jim. And then I changed it on Twitch too. All right, guys, let's keep emotional. All right, my bad, guys. You've been carrying me all these games. It's my turn.
Hostile at the air.
Oh, fuck. Minecart side, you got one in the back.
I just killed 2 over here on blue crates.
Right. Left. I got him.
Oh no, green, 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 on the side of green. Brain. Yeah, he's on the opposite side of that. Oh no, he can't.
One at railroad tracks. Careful.
You looked. In the container side.
Boiling.
You potato that.
Whoa, they cornered me. One of them behind the barrel, and one of you killed the other one. Last one behind that thing in container. From your field side. Behind that metal
Right
thing.
there?
Behind the metal thing.
Yeah, I
right
seen
there.
Yeah,
those.
the big ass.
Oh, damn.
We've taken the
Jeez.
advantage. Make sure we keep it.
Oh, we were shooting from both sides.
Hey, yo, chaos, chaos, chaos. Put that.
I am not in the Discord for I thought I was in it. Oh, Jim, put the Discord in chat for me, please.
Yeah, put the
Jim's a pretty good moderator, guys. He's really active. He's here to help us out, guys. Do you have any questions, ask Jim. Jim is the man. And also throw Jim a follow too, guys. He's getting into streaming as well. When we do a lot of co-op sessions and stuff, Jim's usually around.
Green.
Hostile at the device. Protect the data.
Bro, he's in.
Bro, behind you, Chris.
Wow, he knew exactly where I was.
Hostile has the EMP. Defend the.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it, bro. I really do.
Another one to your left.
You're so awesome.
That was my fault. I could have killed him.
Yeah, it'd be nice, dude. You're gonna be able to, bro. When it processes like that, you're gonna be good, bro. You're gonna be perfect. But if you really wanted to take streaming seriously, you're gonna be good, dude. You're gonna be good. You're gonna be perfect.
No, that's my body. That's my body. He's over there, though. He just rested both of his teammates over there. Right there, watch it. They hear the big ass boots.
He just said
Watch
behind
it.
you,
They're in
behind
boiler
you.
room. They're in boiler.
Railroad.
Yeah, he just got me, body.
Got you, bro.
Oh, another one on the railroad. He's on your right.
Another one.
Yep, another one to your left.
One in there to your left.
Left of the cart. Oh, he might have went back. Yeah, he's gonna be in the left lane. There you go.
3v1.
Woo. Hold it down, guys. Hold it down. All right, appreciate it.
You're good to go. Get back in there.
I do not know.
4v1.
Less than a minute.
Playing it. Bricks, I'm over. Never mind.
Yeah, let's play it.
He's on me. He's on me.
Where?
He's running towards the tracks now.
Boiler. Look at that hole.
This round's off.
That's how you do it. Woo, 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 woo. That's how you do it, guys.
Switching sides.
I know.
He's
I know.
talking about shit for one kill.
Yeah, right?
I'm about to snipe up here. I'm about to snipe.
Get to that device.
You said you like Wesley Snipes? You know, I didn't know he played in the show as a drag queen, bro. I never knew that. That's crazy. Yeah, man.
What?
Chill and snipe if anybody comes for this bomb. I'm just posting
One
on
left.
They're hurting. Let's send them.
What the deuce? Right. Pink blood. What the? Right. Probably start doing more. Yeah. You're good, Jem. You're good, bro. Big Nerd, did you get the Discord thing? Oh yeah, I see you joined the Discord. Make sure you get yourself verified, bro. I added some more security measures for you guys' protection. You don't get bots like sending you guys to like porn sites and all that good stuff.
Get to
You know. All I needed was some Britney Spears, man. Now I'm picking it up.
I'm pushing minecarts.
Shit. Fucking hit marker.
Hostile at the device.
Oh, I got RPG'd from the railroad tracks for the train carts.
Oh my god, niggas just saving my ass left and right at that. Shit, motherfucking shit. Oh, he in here.
Bathrooms.
Almost hitting with a 360 too. He ran to the right there.
He's coming. Careful. He's coming up.
Oh shit. Come on, bro. Man, I almost shot you.
Taking
You
the
bet
advantage.
that I
Make
almost
sure
shot
you
you.
hit.
Oh, you don't want to spam with right. Well, I mean, if you want that, it's all good. But I mean, I don't want you guys getting keylogged and, you know, getting malicious malware sent to your PCs, guys. I'm trying to help you with that, you know.
Man,
Hey, Chaos, you going up there?
Because I shot you.
Yes.
Hey, right. Hey, ooh, right. Yo, what's going on, bro? Oh, how are you, man?
Hey, I'm shooting.
Hey, guys, we gotta step it up, man. We gotta step it up.
I'm shooting at my blue place. Watch it. Don't go that way, yo.
Friendly UAV overhead.
One of them dump
Tunnels, vent tunnel.
Friendly care package.
That Claymore got me killed. I should have just shot, man. You're doing good. I'm glad you're doing good, bro. You don't have a PC? I'm using my phone? Oh, okay, okay.
My showers.
Yeah.
Oh, I was shooting that shield over there.
Good shit.
Hey,
Be advised.
Coming in the bathroom. Coming in the bathroom.
Bum, bum, bum. Oh. I'm gonna go grab me another drink here real quick, guys. 1 second.
I see someone comes through that way. There's a
I
window.
almost shot you.
Oh, he's in there.
I'm in chaos.
It's creeping. There's another one, another one.
Good shit.
Damn.
Shit.
Mission accomplished. Top marks.
Damn, man. It's every time I get up there, Chaos, no one ever goes.
I don't know, man. I'm just saying, Tip, man. It's hurting, man.
Nigga, I could have went out there and killed them.
I could have took that one round. I let you get 2 kills when I was trying to snipe and nobody.
We're talking about you let me get 2 kills.
I let you get 2 kills.
Fuck out of here saying that dumb shit.
The same, bro. My back is hurting, bro. Back is hurting, man.
By damn time you do something. Hey, you know what's crazy? Is he talking shit now? But earlier I had a 22 kill game and he had like 8
you still
kills.
talking about 22?
I only had like 3 in that game.
I had 9, nigga.
Man,
I did
oh,
terrible.
9. Ooh.
No, wait, no.
Ooh,
You had 22, I had 10, and somebody else had 11 on their team.
I still carried the fuck out of you. My back aching.
Oh man, and it didn't. Did it work? I can't tell.
Hey, don't we have the COVID-19 on
Is that like a fortune cookie? Wait, hold on, guys. Hold on. Yeah, you joined. You need to verify yourself though. So if you're on mobile, follow the instructions that the bot. Oh wait, I think you did.
Do what?
Verification room. Suspicious account detected. Has an account whose trust factor is lower than the threshold. Ah. The account is 15 days old. Blah blah blah. You have to verify your account. Yeah, so you should have got a message from a bot. Oh wait, you came in unverified. Okay. Yeah, just make sure you get yourself verified, though. And then you're all good, bro. Yeah, you should have got messages. Alright, guys, let's step up our game here, yo. Let's step it up here. Oh, God, not this map. Not this map. Oh, man, I hate this map.
Niggas camping in they spawn, bro. In the corner. Just ran out. Oh, we facing some campers. But
Wow, hit markers out? There's one in the construction warehouse.
Top and bottom.
Damn, man. He was at the bottom.
Damn it, the tree got in the way. I can't
Yeah.
shoot no more.
Man. Tell you about those trees, man.
straight ahead was where he was at, buddy.
Yeah, they gave me some
Back on light. Move.
Where's the guy straight ahead?
Upstairs, downstairs, what?
He was downstairs to the left. He wasn't in the building though. He was like behind some wall.
Nice, you got him.
Got him on the ropes. Don't let
The text from the bot? Really? Oh, that's not good, big nerd.
Man, shouldn't try to jump shoot, man.
You say bitch?
Hey. Alright, time to mop.
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Get the device. Now.
Yeah, so go into the verify room, do exclamation mark verify in the verification room, and get yourself registered there.
Who we going to by construction? Corner of construction box.
Cornbread.
I got him, Tricks.
To the
Alright, I'm going for the bed.
To your left, and come.
Cornbread.
Good shit.
One in there. The one in there, yeah. Straight up to your left, bro. The one in there, yeah. Right there. Cornbread. Assassinate that one. Oh, you should have assassinated him.
Where at?
He got him. He's dead. One left now. 5v1. Hey, last one is COVID-19. The one that said the hard rock.
Behind us.
Where?
Where?
By fire building.
He on top of fire building.
Cracker. Got me a cracker.
Is it read only? I don't know what you see on your side. Okay, I'm gonna let you know which room. You should be able to type in.
I'm white. I'm white.
Switching sides.
Oh, I'm white.
Not that one. You need to go to.
Now pull up to your
Pull
block.
up on my block. Nigga, I'm
You
getting
wild as
severed.
shit, man.
Better fall.
Get the device. Let's go.
Oh, go to admin requests and then do exclamation mark verify. You should see other users typing it in, and then you're all good, bro. Yeah. Baby Ruth Candy Bar was actually named after the Clover Cleveland babies. Oh wow, look at that.
Hey.
Wow. Okay. Whatever. What the heck, man? What is the shenanigans, man? Man, I'm actually really loud.
In the front, on the bottom.
Hey, Len, there's a guy to your left now.
Hostile FPM.
Hey, you in there.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
shit. Good shit. Hey, Chaos. Down to your
Hey,
left.
Lil, if you,
There you go. So it should have worked, right?
This gun ain't got no range, bro.
I'm in front of the construction.
Watch out behind.
Right behind.
Put it
Are
behind.
you good now?
Trying to get that one.
Hold on. Let me see what's going on here.
That nigga was running for his life.
Ready, COVID-19. Yeah, over 10 kills. Oh, that's how you chop
Daddy
that, huh?
doesn't love him.
Yeah, right.
I heard it.
Get the device. Let's go, team.
I believe you're verified now. You might want to check your DMs though. Make sure your DMs are enabled. At least just for my server, if anything, just so because bots should just message you.
These guys are insane.
Ah,
Hey,
taxi building.
tower, bottom floor,
Coming.
bottom floor.
Bottom construction, turn around quick.
Come on, someone
Quick.
kill me. Hey, two in bottom, whoever's in middle thing. Hey, straight across from you guys, they're gonna be in tower, center building. Chaos, middle floor, and bottom.
Right
There's
here,
another
too.
one. Where you at? Back to left.
I
Oh,
want to get it, bro.
I'm trying to get that shit.
Stay hungry. There's more where that came from.
So the last person just joined, just left the server. Really? It worked? Yeah, you left the server. What happened? Verification room.
He's like, what's happening?
Oh yeah, bot logs.
3-1.
Okay, yeah. Check your messages.
At the end, we gotta.
Okay, so yeah, so they rejoin. Make sure you check your DMs, Jim. I think we might have to help. Oh. Okay.
That shield, you see that?
Two of them were in construction.
Hey, he's laying down upstairs in construction. How did you left? Good shit. Come get me. Straight across, bro. Right there, shit ahead of you. Oh, good shit. Hey, one left, 5v1. And it's COVID-19 nigga.
Yeah, it's tin building.
Stay hungry. There's more.
How you do it, guys? How you do it?
Dumbass nigga.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Dumb as fuck.
Yeah, dumb fuck.
All right, so is it working for you now, big nerd? Because I'm really curious because I have seen a lot of people leave the servers. I want to make sure if I gotta configure anything.
I'll go back and ride.
Shit. Yo, shit. You down to it?
Nah, he is though.
I seen that.
Killed one on a half wall right there.
And they spawn. Spawn building.
Device
Get
secure.
down at your spawn.
You do it. It's how you do it.
Whose day is wins?
Trash.
Yeah, these niggas are ass.
I just get trash. Yo,
Hey, bro, how do you think you got here? You got fucked by BBC, boy. How the fuck you got here? I'll beat your ass. Hey, pull up.
Just
Pull
mad
up.
at
I'll
black
send you the
people
address.
because this
I'll
bitch
send you
got
my
fucked by a
address.
black dude.
I'll send you my address. Alright, bet.
The pet.
I forgot your password, so I gotta go fix that. Oh, okay, big nerd. I'm sorry, bro. Yeah, there was some attacks on Discord, and Jim could vouch for me with this too, guys. I'm trying to protect you guys. Make sure you guys are safe. You know,
Thank you, bro.
like you'll get these like random Discord invites to join servers, and really it's to hack your accounts. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that happening to you guys. I'm just trying to keep you guys safe.
I offered him candy. He said yeah.
It shows you are in a server and says you're unverified. Gotcha.
Same people again, y'all.
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right, let's go. Yeah, COVID-19's on there, man. He's wiggling his joystick. Oh, he left.
Leave the whole ass.
They ain't want no smoke.
Motherfuckers.
They was like, they too good. Hold on. You too good.
That's what I like to see.
I invited him back to the game. Lobby.
Keep us updated, big nerd. Keep us updated, bro. Ugh.
Friend request and add you.
Oh, well, you know what? What if I just not put the pillow in there and actually just put it on myself, right? Let me see. Hold on.
You know what?
What if I just put this right here myself? Here we go.
I mean,
You gay as fuck. I swear.
All right, so this works out.
That was a perfect time for it, man. I had to. I couldn't-
No, there's controversy about it.
It was a perfect timing.
Some people, some businesses are opening like in like certain states, but there's a big controversy between it going back and forth with it. So I don't know, man. Honestly, I have no idea, guys. Oh no, not this map. Oh god. Bum, 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 bum. Ooh, 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 ooh. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey, down middle section by the statue. By the statue.
Oh, right lane, that's up at a canopy or a balcony.
What?
Oh, since they left the game, I gotcha.
Keep trench side, man.
One left arm, right?
No.
damn it.
Oh, he's right there. Body, he just killed me.
Well,
Now I got what you were saying.
That's Lily.
Thought I read
Hey,
you.
Lily, I'm right here in front of you. In that little hole.
oh, bro.
The little hole right there,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought I just read somebody.
He behind you, Lil Line. Duck down.
On to the next round. Pick it up.
Hey, who did I res right there in chat?
Lily.
Which side? Which side? Which
Which
side?
one?
Go left.
I I want all the smoke.
Yeah, I want this smoke.
I'm
Yeah,
going.
let's get it.
I'm going.
I'm going.
Get to
I
that
want
device.
the smoke, dude. Hey, 2 bus go left, 2 go right.
Think about that. 50
Church
niggas in the
trenches,
still
bro.
waiting for him.
In church trenches, we killed him at, bro. I ran to the
It won't let you pass.
Oh, alright, I'm going to church.
Oh,
I want smoke.
Wow, hit marker.
Somebody stood right in front of me.
That laser gives my position away though. I'm not feeling that.
Push him.
Hostile has the EMP. Defend the data center.
Alright, so I can't get past the choose an account part? Wait, what? What kind of account is action to choose?
Behind me. Yeah, you up.
yeah, I know.
Put it behind you. We got work to do.
Alright, back.
Use it, bitch, nigga. Use it,
Go
bitch.
back.
You
Come
got
on.
it. Yeah, come back.
Let's do it again.
Bring your whole
Alright,
squad
back.
over there, nigga. Bring your whole squad over there, nigga. Bring your whole
Alright,
squad,
bring your whole
nigga.
squad.
Got 150 bullets waiting for you, bitch.
This time
Yeah,
I might
go
just
snipe
rock
it.
About to.
Get the device. Let's go, team.
Fuck wrong with this nigga?
Sniping. I like sniping from this side anyways.
He's funny as shit.
Enemy UAV overhead.
It's on the trenches again.
He ain't going to church.
Them niggas went to the wrong trenches and them niggas high. What's going on?
Come on,
They
man.
all cover me.
They all on the
Cover
other
me,
side,
man.
dog.
As soon as I fucking hit the steps, top step. To your right, to your
He's in a
left, tricks.
spawn.
Ambulance tricks. It's another one. Another one upstairs, blow.
Oh. Oh, hit marker on the head.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's crazy.
Teammate, bro.
Tip, church trenches. He's coming, he's creeping right there.
One round gone.
That
We're
bitch
not
ass
dead
nigga
yet,
went to
are
the
we,
wrong
lads?
trenches.
Right.
Alright.
Really? That's interesting. That is interesting.
No, we had the other trench. That's even better. Come on. Even better, dickhead.
Church trenches again.
No, we going. I'm
Maybe
gonna go to the
on
left.
other trenches.
Get the device.
I'm
Let's
going
go,
right.
team.
Yeah, this nigga still won't come this side.
Man.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Come on. Hey,
Church.
church. Left
Door.
window. Oh, I said door.
Come here.
There's a guy over there.
Oh, you got him.
Burger got me a body.
Oh, there was nobody killed him.
Coming around too, man.
Body killed Burger. Burger was the one that got me.
Man, like, oh, he that ran
Tip, you dead?
You
Oh,
on top. Good shit, bro.
Hey, cornbread straight
shit.
ahead.
That
in
bitch
the
don't
house.
hit you, Triggs.
Lost the device. Hold the data center.
Everyone, y'all. Triggs, we're out there.
Sound like he below me.
Church. Guys, I can't even tell you where we at.
Yeah, somebody was in the
51.
church house, right?
There's somebody up under you to your electrics?
Less than a
I
minute.
just saw a body there.
Blue house.
Blue
I
house,
knew
blue
somebody
house.
was in the bottom of Blue House.
That's the way. On to the next round.
Alright, so we gotta see what's going on with that then, guys. Why can't I,
Yeah, nigga, I got you.
You
Keep
blew
coming.
my ass up though.
Keep coming.
Switching sides.
I'm coming. Coming. What you talking about, nigga? What should I pull out for him?
Get the
I don't want
device.
to put an
Let's go.
SKS out for him. It's too easy. I'm gonna pull the K out. Got me, motherfucker. I want you to see me. I want you to see me. Yeah, the nigga killed me. Nigga killed me.
Oh my god, man.
I'm gonna deal with this in a second, guys. Hold on.
Conscious, man.
Yeah, he's down there too.
He's right down there. He's coming around.
Between red and blue.
He's a
Wow. Because I'm doing what it says. Boom, 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 boom.
Hostile planted an EMP on us.
I
Man,
saw
he
him.
just saw him too.
Hey,
He's
Tip,
laying
I'm in
down,
the
Tip.
church.
Don't do it.
I'm in the church.
Back as soon as
Alright, let me see here. Verification.
coming, big.
Alright,
There's one right in front of you.
His footprints. He just jumped up.
Right about the left.
I ain't making it.
Shake it off. Focus on the next round.
Give me back over there, motherfucker. Fuck
He's
around
just
this
fucking with
nigga.
them for real. I'm gonna play for real. At least it get us a win.
Hey, come on, turn up.
Get the device. Let's go, team. Friendly UAV overhead.
Hey, we was on a nice little streak, man. I'm trying
yeah,
to...
I'm gonna set it to not
Yeah,
kick.
we was just fucking around the whole time.
I'm gonna deal with this some more, Big. Now I'm trying to fix it.
Man,
Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good.
Yeah. Oh, that nigga fucking... That shit fucking bad, bro.
By the brown walk-through way, by construction. Hey, turn right to your left. And look,
Fuck that nigga burger. I fucking hate that nigga.
You got him.
Oh, one down below.
He ran up to there.
Running straight ahead to your right.
Ouch.
You to your left,
One
chaos.
by the stairs and there's one by the tank thing. Not them stairs, the
I
other
just
stairs.
saw
Verification methods.
Hold the data center.
Oh, the Google one is disabled. Here, I'll turn it on.
You're good to go. Get back in there.
Reload your gun.
Hostiles on the EMP. Defuse it.
2v3, yo. Coming up the stairs.
Yeah. All right. Try again. Big Nerd, you should be good, bro.
2v2. 20 seconds.
You close that door, chaos.
Yeah.
10 seconds, yo. Y'all gotta push. Yeah.
5 seconds, that shit over.
Yeah, it's a wrap, no.
Oh, what? Get the fuck out of here. I done jumped out of that bitch so many times.
Hey,
It's over.
hey,
We're
cheeseburger,
RTB. Move out.
hey, cheeseburger, you a bitch. You a bitch, cheeseburger. He's a bitch.
Okay, so right now it's set to distrusted.
Hey, bro, you better not let me catch you next game. You better not catch you next game.
Okay. Yeah, try now. Oh, I forgot I had to save it. All right.
Yeah, was just fucking around.
Oh boy.
Better not catch a nigga burger again.
Yeah, this time we gonna play for real. Better not be shoe house. Cause in shoe house is over with. Bacon, for real, any board. Yeah, I hate this fucking map.
All right, let me know what happens now, big nerd. Hopefully it'll work out for you, bro. Here, let me get you the
Cornbread.
try that real quick. See what happens now.
I wasn't paying.
You good? Oh, Tip got kicked. Invite my nephew. Says he's offline. Somebody else. Oh, there you go.
There he is.
This is gonna be my last one.
What time is it?
Yeah, what time is it?
Oh, you might have to go to your weapons tab there and then click on the watch select. It should tell you.
Probably me too.
It's 2
Thanks, you
o'clock.
gonna keep playing?
Shit.
Yeah, I'll be on for a bit. Oh, it's doing the same thing, really? But you didn't get kicked though. You're not kicked yet. You've been given the role. You just got to get verified now. I allowed the Google.
Cornbread's the one hosting the party, so if we leave, you be able to stay in. Body tip and y'all can play and shit. I'll probably get off after this one too.
Yeah, that's my last one.
Get off at this game.
Verification. I'm trying to see.
I ain't saying nothing.
It all depends how this one goes.
Is YouTube allowed? Yeah, you can do YouTube. Yeah.
I'm going down with either way. WRL. My flag. See.
That's what you're saying? The fact that ass gonna go to sleep? That's what it sounded like, dude.
Yeah, if you haven't already, just link some of your well, I can't do it because I'm in streamer mode, but you can link some of your like connections, like your Steam, your Twitter, whatever. That would allow you to get verified, I believe.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
Secure the EMP. Everything else is secondary to.
You know when
What did I just do? I lost my.
Hey, sorry. He's gonna need two of them. Oh, alright. One left, yeah?
We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep it.
You don't know what you're doing wrong. You're okay. You're okay. I'm watching it. You're not kicked though. I changed it so it shouldn't kick you anymore.
2 kills.
But you're going to be considered unverified. Just...
Secure the EMP. Targets are
One
data
lonely
center.
straggler fucking decided to go to Blue Crates.
Damn, they just sniped the shit out of me. I got killed from the train.
He's in there. I'm not even remember exactly.
And then when you're done, bro, you can wrap around and grab your hand,
I think none of my guns got skins on them.
Yeah, he was in the field, okay,
Hey, Waterway. Hey, Trix, go in the showers. Let's
see somebody in the field.
Yeah, you might be in there, reviving. There's 3 dead bodies.
Let me kill, bro! Oh. Nah, you're good. I'm just joking. Yeah, I don't know why my gun skins are not working. It might just be the game.
He in showers now.
Yeah, there's 3 revives in showers. As soon as you walk through that door.
I'm right there on the half wall.
They're all in there. They're all in there. They're all in there. Last one's inside the shower.
I niggas have the same idea. That's crazy.
Oh shit.
We lost that one. Step it up.
Too, bro. Close that door.
Yeah, I might actually have to. I'm gonna make a different Discord account. I'm gonna try to join it, see what's going on.
Switching sides.
That was what you call the coronavirus aim.
You can do Reddit, Steam, Twitter, Xbox, YouTube. I put Google and Overwatch. That's
Secure
the only.
EMP. Target their data center.
Pushing boilers.
And none of my guns got skins. What the heck?
I got hit marker on, bro. Y'all niggas got killed.
Device secured.
In boiler room.
Yup, boiler room. He just got me. Last one's in boiler room.
EMP activated. Defend it.
He in the res in there,
Ooh, shotgun. Yeah, the front door.
We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep it.
So you said you've tried YouTube and Google and didn't work? Why?
Carol?
I was already in boiler room. As soon as he called it, I turned around. I got clapped.
Secure the EMP. Target their data center.
Mine's in here boiler with me.
There's one container side.
Yeah, greenhouse.
Green.
Yeah, I thought he was in there.
One's at our spawn at the railroads. Careful.
Oh damn, body.
I have a laptop and I try to do that on that. Okay, yeah, maybe it's just a mobile issue you're having. Let me take a look.
In the back in the spawn building.
At this right here. Must have a verified email. Oh, did you verify your email on Discord?
Bro, this 1911, this shit not
Friendly
active.
UAV online.
Oh shit, he coming around. He about bomb. He about bomb.
I got killed by the field. I thought it was only one.
Yo.
Regroup and stay focused.
thought it was
The
only
next
one
round
left,
is
too.
ours. Switching sides.
Yo, they stay resing that nigga, cause I killed that nigga twice.
Yeah. Did you verify your email?
Secure the EMP. Target their data center.
Stay resing his ass. Hey, bro, what
Yo, I one right there.
Wow.
This right there, we had one blue.
See, I killed the nigga, now watch somebody res him.
You're good to go. Get back in there.
Good looking, bro.
Shit. My bad. I thought this was Andrew was our teammate running down here.
Yeah, bro.
Device secured. We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep it.
Yeah, it's got to be the email. It's got to be the email, big nerd. If you got to make sure your email is verified for Discord.
Huh?
You take that nigga out, it's over with, bro. They can't do shit without that nigga. Keep killing that nigga, they keep resing him. That's why
Secure the EMP. Target their data center.
It might be maybe because you're on mobile. I don't know. But you don't use Discord very often, right?
Hey, there's another.
Wow, I got hit markers. Oh,
Hey, by blue crate, y'all. Down below, down below, down below.
do I need to set up a two-step up? No, I don't. No, you shouldn't have to do that. That's for your own self. Just kicked you. Why did it kick you? It shouldn't have kicked you.
Nice.
We've taken the advantage. Make sure we keep
nigga,
it.
like, damn.
Roll during verification.
Alright, then, you make a sure ain't no catching up to you, huh?
Can I eat with y'all, man?
Man, my nigga Linda's like, fuck you. I'm getting first place.
javelin out.
I ain't even got it on
Secure
me.
the device.
I know, I realized that.
They don't never run to that side. Shit. So I got the regular rocket launcher.
Outside. Coming to our spot.
Hey, mine cards.
You on top of blue cart, that white cart. On top of you, body, on top of your body.
Oh, I shot too late, bro. He definitely up there, though.
He on top of that
On
white
top,
container,
Tricks.
blue containers and shit at.
Your last one, too.
Hey,
Oh
bathroom,
shit, coming out
bathroom.
of showers.
There's one out the street.
What?
Yo,
That's you.
Bidding is good for business.
It's time for me to get off.
It's like, what?
Thank you.
Dude.
Alright, thank you, Chaos, for letting me carry you once again. I appreciate it.
Ain't no problem, bro. Anytime, man.
No,
I watch you be shitty tomorrow.
I gotta have a
I know. I let you shine. All right, y'all. Hey, let me see. Yeah, I already sent you a friend request. Cornbread. Yeah, got you locked in too on RPG too.
I'm trying to get this fixed up real quick.
Sisters, you know, cause you know, too crazy sisters.
Yeah,
But I'll see y'all later
hit me
on,
up tomorrow, man. Well, hit me up later on today.
Yeah, I got you, Lin. I got you too,
All right,
buddy.
yeah.
I got
All right.
y'all.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all. Be easy, man. Good
Right, you
night.
too, you too.
be safe, y'all.
See ya.
Hold on, brother.
All right, let me just try to get this set up real quick, guys. Hold on. Okay, so it showed you joining. Oh, you're gonna play tomorrow. Too many updates. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Right, right. You should be good now, right? All right, let me see what's going on here. So the laptop's doing the same thing. Okay, so but you should have got a message, right? All right, so far so good. I don't want to mess around with the bot. Let me see what happens. Hopefully it doesn't kick. I think you're good though. Oh, we got contracts we got to do here, guys. Holy macaroni. All right. I need to give me a snack here, guys. Yeah, so you'll just have to go to your email. Whatever you use to sign up, just verify it real quick. You should be good because you're not getting kicked, so I think you're good now. Which is perfect. Which is very, very perfect. All right, let me see here. So they left. Well, who was it? They're in a match. Yeah, see? So you haven't been kicked yet, Big Nerd, which is good. How long have I been live, guys? You know, for some. Bum ba bum bum bum. Bum ba bum ba bum bum bum. Give me 1 second here. See what's happening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, bro. Bum 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 bum. Okay, well that's good so far. I think things are looking pretty good, which is perfect. Okay, all right. Let's see here, guys. Yeah, I think you're good now. You should be good now. He playing on? He's not on my. Why am I invisible here, guys? My character, look, I'm gone. I'm not even here. Wow, I'm playing as the dog. Yeah, I think you're good now, Big Nerd. You should be good, bro. Guys, I'm gonna grab something here real quick. And then we will continue on here, guys. So give me just, of course, gaming is on here. Okay, cool. All right, we're gonna. Oh, oh. Big Nerd, what else is it telling you right now? Weird. Okay. That was very. All right, let's see what else we got here, guys. So far, so good. I think so far, so good, right? The heck is going on? If big nerds like fail. All right, but you're okay though. You haven't been kicked on Discord though. That's good, right? That's a really big good step right there though. We're definitely stepping in the right direction on that part. Yeah, that's definitely crazy. Let me see. What the heck? I think they got their let me see, hold on. Oh, I can't even join the game. What? Okay. Oh wait, verification room. What's going on here? I'm looking. Just show that you did not respond. So you're not responding to the bot, but an admin request is still would not like my verification. Yeah. It is interesting though. I'm gonna let me just whisper to them. Let me tell them to invite me. Alright, this the bot said I did not respond in time, but it will not let me respond. Really? So wait, where is it telling you to respond though? Yeah, I'm gonna have to make a. I need to check it out. That's weird, man. Yeah, that is very weird. Um, I'm gonna restart the game. Try it again. Alright, it's telling me to view my account on or something like that. Really? Jim, you want to do me a big favor, bro? Yeah, I'm gonna have to They're not showing me. It's on the server, but I gotta figure out what's going on with that other thing though, guys. Yeah, we're gonna have to definitely figure it out and see what's going on with that. Yeah, it's gonna say you're level 1 now. Hold on. You know, 'cause that's a different bot. That's like the rank system that we have on the server.
Don't get you something to eat.
Oh, I already am.
I mean, you not want to play no more?
No, I ain't what I said. I said I was waiting on you to tap out.
Oh, I'm still playing. Really?
Shoot, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, guys. Hey, what's up, Thomas?
I expected you to play this goddamn long. Then you asked me to an hour ago. You've been hollering, oh, boy, I'm finna go lay down. I'm finna sleep.
Oh, shoot, guys. Was not ready for this. Was not ready for this. Wow. Right, what's up, Thomas?
One down.
Oh, nice, 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 nice. That is crazy, man. Because I'm trying to make the sandwich. I'm gonna get killed. I hear it. No, teammates are still there. That's good. Wow, they didn't even see me.
Enemy at the fort.
Enemies halfway there. Step it up.
Wow.
Enemy missile in the AR. Enemy UAV on there. Care package arriving on station.
Wow.
Good copy.
Station for overwatch.
Wow. Yeah, what's the score go out to, man? There we go.
That's what I'm trying to do now.
All right, Beginner. So is it working for you now, bro? Mm-hmm. Ah, bro, it's late. I know. It's just a little small one. You have not been kicked? Okay.
What's up, Tricks?
That's good. Hey, hey, hey.
I didn't know you was in here.
Mm-hmm. Very, 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 very sneaky.
That you are.
Mm-mm-mm-mm. You guys were talking about food, so I had to make a quick little sandwich.
You always eat.
Hey,
Mm.
I'm about
Both
to tell
y'all.
her ass, fuck her shit. Let her ass go play by her goddamn self. Any other time her ass ain't trying to play this goddamn long.
How
Mm.
long you got left on the happy hour?
It depends. Usually it's between 2 to 5 during the afternoon, during lunchtime.
Hey, yeah, one to two.
Mm-hmm.
You be all right.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
No, you. Ah, whatever. Whatever. You lucky son of a gun. Whoa, I hate this map. Wow. Wow. That's my own teammate. Oh well. Wow. Wow.
Setting Claymore.
Enemy vehicle.
Hey, Big Dog, take it easy, buddy. Yo, thanks, man. Appreciate it, bro. Sorry about the confusion, man. Ow. 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 Not good, guys.
They've reached the halfway point. Get moving.
Oh, no.
Enemy at the fortress.
Yeah, this got to be a whole squad.
Enemy close to strike.
Enemy at the center.
Right?
We together.
Wow. Wow.
Enemy at the fortress.
Ow. it's tough, man. It's been tough. Wow. Mm-hmm.
We have failed. Return to base.
Got a random idea? Sure, go ahead, bro. Shoot for it.
Enemy at the center. Off that container. Ass knocked off that container.
6. Okay, about
Mhm.
Nigga, shut up. Nigga, you got your ass knocked off the container, nigga.
Ouch.
Shut your ass up. What's wrong with
I'm
you?
at 126.
But yeah, I'm gonna let y'all go ahead, man, cause yeah, my stomach all over again.
Hey man, grab a Snickers. That's what I do.
Yeah, bro, girl, listen. Why I thought this motherfucker brought me an Italian beef, but he brought me a damn gyro.
Those is good too.
With no tomatoes on it though.
Oh, was it? Did it at least have a cucumber sauce?
Yeah, it got the cucumber sauce, but
Okay, you don't want a dry gyro.
and then it ain't got no feta cheese on it.
Oh. So you had like one of those basic gyros where get it on sale or value menu type deal.
Right.
Usually you go gyro, you go big.
Hey, right.
Oh, that's messed up, bro.
You know, beggars can't be choosers, you know what I'm saying? Warm up my fettuccine.
Yeah, I like the gyros where when you try to stuff it in your mouth and you can't fit it, and you know it's like stuffed with lamb meat and extra lettuce and tomato.
And then eat that.
Yep. Like you're playing Tetris.
I promise.
Your faces be doing all weird like angles trying to eat it.
I promise you, trying to get it, cause you're trying to keep it even. You know what I'm saying? As you eating it down, but you really can't because.
Oh, what happened to Dusty?
Thing in your mouth.
I don't know. She hopped out. Don't complain about me not hopping.
Like a phone lock screen or something? Wait, what do you mean?
Listen, I'm just saying. Listen,
Hey, what?
You know me. I don't sleep. I'm like a vampire. I'm finna eat. Probably and while I'm eating, I'm gonna watch me another movie. I'm with you not, and then I'll be back
on. Fall asleep. You gonna fall
right.
asleep? You ain't finna get back on.
Cause I ain't smoking no weed right now. Now if once I get done eating and get done and watching the movie, and then
watching
and I get
a movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to bed by then. I ain't staying up while you watch it.
The average movie ain't but an hour long, dumbass.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be a trailer, 30 seconds.
And it's already almost 2 o'clock in the morning. Hey, boy,
stop look at you. Where you going?
I don't care. If I'm sleepy, I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy. I'm going. I know.
Listen, I'm jealous then.
Don't look.
I most of the time don't even.
If I can't go to sleep,
your phone lock screen or something like wallpaper background. Oh, okay.
Guess what?
Like, what kind of scene are you like thinking about?
You ain't got no damn tomatoes on that sandwich. How about that?
All right.
Go ahead and eat. Bye.
But yeah, I'm finna go put this. I'll let y'all.
I'll probably catch you in the morning.
Oh, enjoy your movie.
All right.
Bye. Hello.
Oh yeah, I'm still here. So Dusty's not coming back?
I don't know. She hopped in and hopped out. So maybe she had a lot of problems with hearing us on the mic.
Yeah, it's the game.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like I usually use Discord when I play.
Uh-huh.
Right. I don't know what Dusty plays on. You can always do Xbox Party Chat or whatever. But if you guys are on different platforms, then that won't work.
No, she on Xbox. Let me see.
Yeah, that might be your best bet.
It say not joinable, so I can't even send her an invite.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying, Big Nerd. Okay. Yeah, that'd be cool.
She got her room
My
locked.
pillow just fell again. Oh my god, this is...
You wanna play
Why
some more shit
does this keep falling off? Look, all it is a little strap.
Mr. Tricks?
Oh, what happened?
I said, you want to play a few games with me?
Yeah, we're good. Whatever you want to play. I'm just trying to fix my pillow on my chair because my pillow came off.
Oh, God forbid you don't be comfortable.
Yeah, it's one of those pillows with a strap, and it doesn't hold every time. I guess because I'm moving up and down, and I guess I raise it up, and then it comes off, and it's annoying.
Oh.
I didn't have a problem with that with my last chair.
I need one of those comfortable chairs playing this game, because I be getting a crick in my neck.
Yeah. Just you don't have to get those gaming chairs that streamers use or whatever. I mean, I feel like they're a bit overhyped. From personal experience. Yeah, actually, there are a couple office chairs that are extremely comfortable. It really depends on your body. Best bet, well, now you won't be able to, but when you go to the stores, try it out. It's hard to really test what's good because you're not really going to sit at the store for 8 hours and sit on it,
Right.
You want something with back support. Some of them come with pillows. If not, get your own. Usually you want to go with memory foam, so that way when you're done, it kind of just folds back into its original form. That's about it, really. I would stay away from those standard chairs, the ones that kind of rock back and forth too much, because, well, you're playing with a controller, so you should be fine. But on a mouse and keyboard, I got to keep my back straight. And is Dusty able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yep. Yeah, I was telling Testy Peach. Yeah, I was telling Peach if it's messing up a lot, just you guys can do party chat.
I meant something. I don't know. It's kicking me out. I try to enter, it kick me out. Enter, it kick me out. Oh, no.
You know what?
That's weird.
I think
Duct tape will fix that.
I was having issues with it.
Oh, duct tape. Yeah, because look, it's like.
Connection, but when I checked Xfinity on my
oh no,
I'm gonna through my app, it said it was just fine, and I restarted my modem. Then I went back into the game, and it told me that it wasn't connected again, and then it started acting right. So I think it's the game.
That's weird. I've been having problems with my cell phone, my phone. Oh, Lord, and this...
Well, the pandemic doesn't help either.
I guess, yeah, that's what I'm saying. With all these people, I guess, on here, it ain't...
What I learned is always block your modem internet. That's what I do. I block incoming traffic or incoming connections. Nobody can connect to my router. Some of them can connect anonymously without you knowing.
Right?
Yeah, but there's bypassing for that.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, I can go past somebody's house right now and take their Wi-Fi if I really wanted to. It's not difficult. I mean, it's not easy, but it's possible. But I don't really connect to random people's Wi-Fi because I don't want people getting my information either. All right.
You're Mr. Computer Pro over there.
Yeah, people go, oh. Yeah. Here we go, guys. That's better. Now I'm comfortable. Oh, here we go. Now I'm nice and comfortable.
How do you like they made this one now, this game mode?
I done went up 10 ranks in the past
couple
hours.
But that double XP helps.
Weird, yes. Then I got...
Boom shakalaka laka laka. Oh. Testy, it's like that? Ouch. Oh. Okay. You're going again. All right, Big Nerd. Take it easy, buddy. Take it easy, man. Appreciate it, bro. Wow. Okay. 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 Wow.
What happened to Mike?
I'm sick of shotguns on this map.
Emergency airdrop on your mark. Securing Bravo.
What guns are y'all working on?
Hold on, Dusty.
I got something for you guys. You ready?
Securing A.
Roger. No match. Orbital drop on the way.
Wow. Wow.
Enemy in the dumpster.
Enemy cluster strong incoming. Take that.
Good copy. No match. 2 drop.
Aw, man. Whatever. Crazy fest in this game. Crazy, man. It's crazy. Wow. Shotgun, 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 shotgun. I don't know how people enjoy this map.
We're taking out.
I hate it.
Enemy in the bunker. We're taking Charlie. Drop Bravo. Stand by.
Whatever. Yep. Wow, come on, man.
Learn from the loss. Come back harder.
That's crazy, guys.
Hey, Ethan, I did that one. Now I need.
All right. Wow, a lot of points. Holy mackerel. And we're getting upgrades too, guys, which is good.
Who's still in here with me?
Yep, I'm still here.
Dusty jump out again?
I think so.
Huh. Do you have anything you could... Ooh, shoot. Okay, you still with me. Yeah, I need to run to the bathroom and stuff. Is there anything you need to do for a few minutes till I come back?
Yeah, I'll go grab me a bottle of water while you do that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay. Alright, guys, I'm gonna go give me some H2O. 1 second. Oh, I knocked my pillow off again. Okay, guys, we are back in action. I need to find a position for my microphone. Oh no. Guess I could do it that way. Wonder how that would work. So let me try something. Raise this way. Okay. I have to temporarily twist this way. No, it doesn't go down anymore. But if I put it right there, twist this. No, I can't. Or I'll have to play at an angle. Alright, let me see something here.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Oh, I didn't ask. Are you ready?
Yeah, it's cool. I'm just repositioning my microphone. I'm trying to get a good sweet spot and I can't find one.
Oh. Oh, the guy that was on here with us before forever.
Yeah.
He always telling me I need a better headset. You know, I'm happy with the one I got.
Right. Well, because the thing is, I mean, I kind of get where that's I kind of get where that's coming from, though. I mean, sometimes sound quality can really hurt the ears in some aspects. It just depends on how it goes. Yeah, this ain't gonna work, guys.
Enemy in the dumpster.
Okay, well, that's good. What can I do here? I guess I could put this down like this, right? That won't work. Let me see something here. I don't know, guys. I don't know how this is gonna work. Like, I'm trying to figure out a good spot here. I mean, I guess this is gonna be the best I'm gonna be able to do for now, guys. Yeah, that's like the best I can do for now. Or wait, hold on. There we go. I mean, that works. Ugh. Shoot. All right, let me see something here. I can't get this. There we go. A monitor like that. Down. Oh, yeah. Hey, what's going on, Howling? Hold on. Get this quick. I can move this way. Now, microphone. Okay, so I guess it's closer to me now, which is kind of cool. Okay. Nah, no other sandwiches right now. No way, Thomas. Now, I'm trying to, I was reorganizing my, my monitors. I was trying to fix them. I can... And... Yeah, this looks all weird now, though. That's good, though, because I do need the bottom up so I can actually see... a little better now. Yeah, alright, let me see how we look here now, guys. So now when we play games... I go like this. Oh, you guys don't see me. Oh, wait, I gotta move the camera. So that's much better. Okay, and you guys kind of see the microphone a little bit. I need to... What if I raise it up here? I mean, that should work for the most part. You know, it's kind of out of my way, but I just want to make sure you guys can hear me really good. Oh well, that's good for now. Oh man. Yeah, but Thomas, I'm surprised you're still awake, bro. I know I'm about to go to bed here in a minute. I'll probably do one more game, and then I'm going nighty-night. I'm gonna back out actually right now. Actually, you know what, guys? Let me get some rest. It's actually late. I don't want to overdo it. So let me get some rest. Let me get out of here. I'm gonna catch you guys later. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll definitely catch you guys here in the next broadcast. See you guys.